Alright, welcome back to Wartales. So, last episode we just jumped in after I had done a bunch of stuff. Mostly just because I saw merchants being attacked on the road, so that was a fun thing. But we're gonna do two things today's episode. One is go through the roster and I'll show you what I've been doing. And the other is a rat infestation. So that should be fun. So we'll start with the three tanks at the top of the roster. Eleanor, our starting tank. She is currently wearing... Actually, all three of the tanks are currently wearing a Corporal's Bassinet. Plus 1 willpower, plus 1% crit chance, plus 8 guard, plus 20 armor. And if they're supported, they're immune to bleeding, burning, and poison. Pretty good. She has a Ghost Breastplate, which is the level 5 armor, level 5 required armor that I can make right now. Still using a lower quality weapon, but she also has this Defender's Rondel, so each time she attacks, she does an extra 5 damage to an adjacent enemy. It does not have to be the same enemy she attacked. So if she kills somebody with her sword strike or her kick or whatever, then she smashes another adjacent enemy for 5 damage. Pretty good. She is the fighter specification, so heavy armor, and she can kick to remove somebody's guard damage reduction. And every time she gets hit, she generates a Valor point, or every time she takes damage. So an interesting note about defensive stance is if she takes 0 damage, because her damage reduction and, like protection and deflection and stuff prevent the damage from being anything, she will not generate a Valor point. So that's a fun thing to keep in mind. And then whenever she engages, she gets deflection. So when she gets engaged on, not the attack that engages on her, but if they have a follow-up attack, that one's 70% reduced damage, or if somebody else comes and backstabs her after she gets engaged on, that's 70% reduced damage. That is all of that. I have Wrath and Taunt on her. So those are the two abilities that you can get from either the start of the game. Every character you hire has one. One of those, she started with Taunt, and I managed to get her Wrath as well by buying and stealing. Again, I stole a lot from the Brotherhood Training Grounds to give a lot of my people mostly the run skill. She's thick-skinned, brawny, so base guard, which is just damage reduction, and constitution increased. Right now, that's plus 2 constitution, which doesn't sound like much, but it's just going to keep growing throughout the game. She eats a little bit extra, but food is definitely not something we're concerned about. She has an additional 5% guard whenever she has a shield, because of the shield connoisseur trait, and Duelist gives her crit hit and damage when she's using a one-handed weapon. So, that's Eleanor. Brick, very similar. He has the Corporal's Bassinet, he has the Ghost Breastplate. I actually have all 3 reinforced layers of the stag, so that's why he has plus 6 strength from his armor, as well as 67 armor. I'm looking to replace the Fugitive's Hammer once I get something a little bit better. It is cool that it ignores guard, but that's all it does, so that'd be nice to upgrade to something else. He has a shield, Buckler of the Guard, that allows him to engage with it and gain riposte. So that gives him an attack of opportunity as soon as he is hit, and that sticks around even if the target that he engages on is killed. So if he moves in, engages with it, and then kills the person he's fighting, or somebody else kills him before they hit him, anyone else who runs up and hits him will also get counterattacked, as long as he hasn't moved. So that's fun. His abilities as a destroyer are Weakening Blow, so he can cause a person to do 50% reduced damage for 3 rounds. Every time he engages, he gains a Valor point, and if there's at least 2 enemies within 8 meters, he has protection. So just 30% damage reduction anytime there's 2 enemies around. Pretty good. Brawny Confident, so 5% constitution increase, which is currently plus 2 as well. Willpower increased by 2, which is currently 16. So everyone who has 15 or higher has the ability to survive with 1 hit point when they would otherwise be dropped to dying. Very handy, especially for a tank. Lively, so strength and dexterity increased by 5%. That is currently plus 2 strength and plus 1 dexterity. Brave, so strength and dexterity increased by 5% if we're outnumbered at the beginning of the battle. That that does not actually show here, but that is another 2 strength and 1 dexterity if we're outnumbered at the beginning of the battle. So it does stick around for the entire battle if we're outnumbered, which happens a lot since we're playing the adaptive difficulty. Duelist, critical hit and damage increased by 5%, same thing. And opportunistic, damage from attacks of opportunity, which includes that riposte, increased by 5%. For a tank, he is very, very... he does pretty good damage for a tank. Aegis is our newest tank, level 4 instead of level 5 like the other two. I guess I should also go over Cook, currently plus 10 Constitution. Miner, currently plus 4 Constitution, plus 2 Strength. I believe next time it levels up, it's plus... I don't know. Whenever that levels up again, it'll gain more Constitution and or Strength. Right now I have Aegis as a Scholar, as my second Scholar, actually. Which is in part, whenever there's a stone, I can get a little bit of extra knowledge and have a chance of finding a fragment of a small item whenever I rest. But yeah, Aegis is wearing a shield that lets her get protection. Wearing the same helmet and wearing the old armor that I took off of, I think, Brick or whatever. She's still using the starting Rusty Gladius, so she does not do damage at all. She very much just stands there and gets beaten, which is fine because she's a protector. So in a 10-meter area, she can give herself and all allies 30% damage reduction, as long as they don't already have protection from another source, which is why Brick can run off on his own and not worry about this, since he gets protection automatically if there's at least 2 enemies around. She also has a defensive stance, so every time she gets hit, gives me a Valor point. And then she has just First Aid as her ability. Brick just has Wrath. We're going to work on getting them all taunt and stuff later. Aegis is patient, so if they've already acted, she gets 10% additional damage. For the most part, I've been using her to either engage something, so it doesn't really matter, or wait till they come and engage on her and then smack them. And then Brawny, Constitution increased by 5%. Right now that's plus 2. Not bad. Good old Scold, one of our starting characters. Still the Berserker. Right now it's up to 10 to 14 damage without a crit. 3 times. And for every crit, 50% damage for the next attack. Still very powerful. And yeah, that's without having upgrades to the Ghost Axe yet, which is one of the next things on the chopping block that we're going to try to do. Upgrade to the Ghost Axe, and probably there is a oil that you can apply to your weapons that gives 20% increased crit damage. That would be amazing. Pretty sure it's 20%. But yeah, having her critical damage be double or close to the base damage, yeah. Very nice. Right now she's using a throwing axe to get 5%. And also, if she needs to, she can throw it to ignore guard, possibly apply bleeding, and do some decent damage. Very nice for taking off that last bit of armor on somebody who has guard. Still using a helmet that gives enhanced precision, because the extra 20% crit chance brings me to a 50-50. Very nice. And yeah, a bunch of reinforced layers of the stag here as well. More strength and armor. What's not to love? Pocket knife, 15% crit damage is her belt item. So she has the same slash, rampage, and wrath she's had the entire game, but now she also has run and taunt. When she engages, we get a Valor point, and if the enemy has 50% or less health, she does 50% increased damage, which stacks with the fury that she can get. So, she's very good at finishing people off. Or just chunking down somebody who doesn't have damage reduction, which is fun. Oh, right. The traits. Bloodthirsty, 3% increased crit chance. Strong, currently plus 2 strength. Plus 1, she eats a little bit extra each day. Chance to generate a Valor point at the end of her turn. 5% critical hit and damage when she's using one-handed weapon. Dexterity and strength, increased by 5%, so that's another 2 strength and 1 dex if we're outnumbered at the start of a battle. And she also has opportunistic because, well, I have ways to give attacks of opportunity to people, and it's fun. Jelani, another of our starters. We have a harpooner. She generates a valor point if she ends her turn next to an ally. She can throw a javelin, harpoon, whatever, dealing damage to all units in the line and applying bleeds to the first unit. But at level 5, she gains Sweet Spot. So now she is the second way we can remove guard from somebody who has a lot of damage reduction. And it applies with both the harpoon. If she's throwing it, everyone that gets hit by it has destabilization applied, as well as from her spear, as long as she's not standing directly adjacent to them. So she is also good at shredding damage reduction. Just a basic helmet increases her damage by 20% if she has no debuffs, and a bunch of mobility built into her armor. Now, once I'm able to make a lot more reinforced layers of the stag, she will eventually have bonus strength instead. But this is good for now. So, damage double diffused from a distance, which again is what I want to do for the stabilization anyway. Tactical orders. So since she's a lieutenant, she can cause everyone around her to generate twice as much valor. Very nice. She has first aid and run, so if she's engaged on, she can disengage, or if she needs to reposition, she can do that. And then, yeah, I went over those with her abilities and armor. Bloodthirsty, strong. So right now, strong is giving her +2 strength. Also eats more. Tormentor. So whenever she's using a two-handed weapon, which all spearmen weapons are two-handed, so basically for the rest of the game, she has 5% additional critical hit and damage. And then she also has Glorious, so whenever she ends her turn, chance to generate Valor. Good times. I know, it's taking a while, but we're getting through it. Also, I forgot to mention, the reason Aegis is injured, and I haven't healed it yet, is it's just a spray. Can no longer be chosen to complete tasks. That's it. I'm hoping to get back to town to heal up by just paying the 20 gold instead of drinking the medicine. Medicine's a lot more expensive, and I'd rather save it for more compelling injuries. I only have 9. That's not even enough to heal my entire team. So, that's fun. Vina. We'll start with the captain. So, as a captain, galvanize troops. 4-meter area, and as long as I have enough people, I can generate back to full valor, which is fun. She has helmet that gives the same kind of helmet that gives the 20% increased damage if she has no debuffs. The Ghost Spalder. The Ghost Spalder is also, it's a medium armor with the reinforced layers of the stag, so +6 strength there. Still using two-handed Hammer of the Guard. I wouldn't mind replacing this, but it is an acceptable hammer, even if they don't have armor, because it does do decent damage, and it is a circular AoE, so she can stand in the middle of people and not worry about, attacking one side or the other. The adjustable straps give +1 movement, not a really big deal. But yeah, as Vanguard, she has Relentless Charge, which allows her to disengage if she's engaged on, and move 6 meters, dealing 23 damage to all units in the path. Very fun. Applying slowdown is neat too, because it can potentially, if she uses it early on in the movement, then moves away, prevent people from reaching us. Every time she hits multiple people, she gets 1 Valor point for us, and her damage and critical hit are increased by 20% against any unit with a debuff, which includes the slowdown from Relentless Charge and or the bleeding from her Armor Crusher. Or any debuff applied by other people also works. As far as the training ground, or the Brotherhood abilities you can get, First Aid, Run, and Taunt. Very fun, very useful. Her traits, Bloodthirsty, Strong, so right now Strong is at +2. She eats a little extra, can generate a Valor point at the end of the turn, has Strength and Dex increased by 5% whenever she's using a two-handed weapon, which she's going to be forever, basically. And that gives her +1 Dex and +2 Strength. Tormentor, 5% critical hit and damage. Yep, there you go. Two-handed weapon. So she's going to continue using two-handed weapons, which, Valorous Chains. We kind of always want her to be using two-handed weapons. And then she also has Instinctive. A chance of getting critically hit by enemies is reduced by 25%. So if they have 25% or less crit chance, she's immune to their critical hits, which is good times. Kang, we just got done making the Ghost Claws, which greatly strengthened him. So now he's at 23 dexterity, and Nimble gives him 2. So, Good times. Thick skin, so he has bonus guard, which is, nice for somebody who wears medium armor and can't use a shield. Just 3% extra damage reduction. And then Tormentor, 5% crit chance and damage whenever he's using two-handed weapons, which all claws are, so he will always have that. Whenever he engages, he generates a Valor point. He has an ability, and I think I've said exactly what this does wrong before. It is, his damage is increased for a percentage that is equal to half of the target's percentage guard. So if they're at 30% guard, it increases his damage by 15%. So I really need to be ramping up his dexterity, which Angler does not do. But it's fine. I honestly might respec him later into takedown, into the wrestler. Maybe, not sure. But yeah, so right now he can apply fragility or damage have bonus damage based on the target's guard. So the tankier they are, the more damage they take, with an attack that ignores guard. But he can also switch. This does help with that damage increase for an amount equal to half the guard, because he can increase his damage by getting rage. Every time he switches stances before an attack, he gains 1 rage. And he can switch stances as many times as he wants per round. So very versatile, and yeah, as the damage gets increased, that Skullbreaker damage is getting increased, which means the damage the guard increases it by it's a nice little synergy there. And then we have Alice, who is just a duelist. That's the only trait she has, but that's enough. Critical hit and damage increased by 5% is nice. Whenever her dagger also gives increased critical hit by 30% when attacking from behind, which we always want to do, since her Frenzy performs 2 additional attacks if attacking from behind. She's one of the highest potential damage output characters, but primarily just if she's stabbing from behind. If she's not, then she loses a lot of damage potential. She gains 1 Valor point if she's next to an enemy that she's not engaged with at the end of her turn. So if she backstabs and either can't move or moves to the side, she gets a Valor point for us. Then, I already touched on Cutthroat, and she has Deadly Contract, so wherever she randomly spawns at the start of a battle, it applies fragility to the nearest enemy, and as we kill the fragile enemies, they have that debuff spread along the enemies one at a time. First Aid and Run. I didn't touch on that, but Kang only has his starting Wrath. He hasn't gotten any of the additional abilities. It would be nice to get Run on him, definitely. So yeah, we've got... also, she's wearing the Tactician's Bicot, which the +1 range only impacts the Poison Throwing Knife, which is whatever. But she's mostly wearing that because every time she gets engaged, she performs an attack of opportunity, and that attack of opportunity does damage. And, I haven't touched on any of the oils, but they don't really matter. They're the basic starting oils that you can just make, and... I guess they do. 30% chance to increase dexterity. I think it's by 10%, so it's not nothing. It's definitely not nothing, but it's just kind of a little extra bonus. And she's wearing Ghost Cloak, which is the current level 5 required light armor I can make. There is eventually layers that I can get that are plus dexterity, which I can't wait to be able to put those in, but for now she's just got the extra movement from the 1 Sage's Reinforce there. Oh, also Whetstone. Increased 10% critical chance from behind, so... She has 21% base crit if she stabs somebody in the face, and with the Whetstone and her dagger, that's an extra 40% crit chance on her basic attack, so she's at 61% to stab somebody in the back for crit on 30 to 38. But then her Frenzy only gets the, 21% plus 10%, so only a 30% chance to crit on the Frenzy, which is still good. Diana. She is a bloodthirsty glutton duelist, so extra 3% crit chance, and she gets extra critical hit and damage for using a one-handed weapon, which brings her up to 16%. Not as good as Alice, but it's fine, because she's not really there primarily to stab people. She's there to use Smokescreen to disengage, or to use the recoil bomblet to move people around. She's also a lieutenant, so she can also give the tactical order to increase valor generation for people in a small area, and she does have run to disengage with if necessary, or to reposition. But yeah, the strategist Smokescreen has been very, very useful. It's one of the ways I can give attacks of opportunity to all the people that engage with enemies. So, very fun little build there. Then we have Glenn, our infantryman. He is nimble, which is currently giving +2 dexterity. Stocky, which doesn't matter for combat, but the extra carry capacity is nice. Sharpshooter, her range is increased by 1, which is very, very nice. Opportunistic, so attacks per opportunity increased by 5%. That matters a lot because of his barrage ability, which we'll get to in a second. Resilient means if he has poison, bleeding, or burning applied to him, there's a 5% chance that it doesn't get applied. Sociable doesn't really matter too much. I still don't really know what the friends do. I assume standing next to each other helps in combat, but I haven't figured it out quite yet. And then Tormentor, all bows are two-handed, so he's always going to have 5% crit chance and damage. Neat. He has the ability to generate us a bunch of Valor points every time he kills people, which he gets his basic attack, and then also the barrage if we use it each round. So he has the potential, if he kills 4 people, to give us 4 Valor points in 1 round. Very helpful. The barrage setting up the area to perform 3 attacks of opportunity is nice, especially since we can move people by poking them with Jelani, or throwing a recoil bomblet or whatever. So we can definitely use that to our advantage. And also, every 2 attacks, he applies vulnerability, which is fun. So, yeah, he can apply vulnerability twice per round if we do it right. And then, did I go as... Yeah, I did. Yeah. Gwyneth, also, right, he is not using the attack of opportunity hat because we try to keep him not getting engaged on, and the 1% crit chance is nice. But, yeah, if anyone gets poisoned, he does bonus damage against them, which is kind of nothing. I'd love to replace the hat, but I currently don't have a replacement for the hat, so it's fine. Gwyneth also has the enhanced vulnerability, so if she gets engaged on, she stabs them in the face, or shoots them in the face, which is fun. She's audacious, so if they haven't acted yet, she gets 10% increased damage, sharpshooter, so increased range, and eagle eye, which is really helpful because precision increased by 10% means she's less likely to hit our allies. As far as her build goes, she's got Valor support to generate Valor points when she's next to people, and Gunner isn't exactly great yet. It looks like it'll be much better once she hits level 5 and can... oh no, it's not level 5, it's level 8. Yeah, so the first time she applies a penalty, she could reload. Or if she uses her basic shot 3 times, then she reloads for a 4th, which would be amazing. If I can manage to get to 3 reloads, then the 3rd shot will shoot 3 times, and then that will give me a free reload that will shoot 4 times. Which is, crazy. And then Solid Grip also sounds interesting, but maybe not for her. She does have some crit chance, but she's not exactly built for critting. Oh, I also forgot to go over professions, mostly, but it's fine. We basically have Diana, who can swap to whatever, and Aegis, who swaps to whatever we need, and then back to Scholar just to be at 15 willpower. Gwyneth is Brewer, so she gets Constitution crit chance, which actually does matter because she's like a very frontline range character. I like to keep her very close so she can just shoot over people's shoulder. Or no. Wait. No, that's Keenan. I don't know why I made her Brewer, honestly. Whatever, it's fine. Speaking of Keenan, he's wearing the basic hat that gives 10% increase. You know what? He should definitely have that hat. Oh, I think it's because I was giving her the extra +1 range. But she does a lot more damage, potentially. So it makes more sense to have the damage. I'm pretty sure the way this works is whenever she shoots somebody who has a debuff on the enemy, then, yeah. Yeah, so if it says this unit, it's them. So she's going to do 10% extra damage for each debuff on the enemy, Which means if I can stack debuffs, she's going to hit really hard, reload, and then hit really hard twice. That'd be fun. That's much better than what I was doing for a second. But yeah, Genin is the one that's up close and personal. So if he gets engaged on, he'll shoot them in the face. But his whole thing is commanding shot. Did I go over her stuff? Yes, I did go over her stuff. So he's a volunteer. That's his only quirk, which is fine. Paying him less is cool. But yeah, he has the Legion crossbow and the commanding shot ability. He can wear medium armor even though he's only wearing light armor right now, which I'm sure will be much more useful later. But with commanding shot, he gets the target that is engaged with the enemy he shoots to attack with an attack of opportunity. So every shot he takes is his damage and the allies' damage. And then his Legion crossbow, if he shoots somebody who is engaged, he reloads, which is perfect synergy with his ability. It's pretty brutal. No Valor points to shoot twice and get 2 attacks of opportunity. Unless the shot or attack of opportunity kills the target, in which case he does not reload, I believe. I know for a fact that the ally kills the target with the attack of opportunity, then he doesn't reload. So I have to be kind of careful with where I use him. But other than that, that's all he's got going on. Yeah, aim. Glenn's been around for a while. He also has first aid and run, just in case. But, yeah. Then we get to Nightmare, who's finally level 5, finally wearing horse armor. So, Nightmare reflects 15% of the damage, which, in hindsight, means thick-skinned is actually kind of bad. Like, yes, it makes Nightmare tankier, but it also reduces the damage, which means it reduces the damage reflected back. So, in hindsight, probably shouldn't have given Nightmare thick-skinned. Brawny was definitely the right choice, though. Because right now we're at +2 Constitution, which is an extra 8 hit points and a little bit of carrying capacity for it. So we've got a pretty tanky horse there, who also has Tough, which is just a chance to not get injuries. That's from running around without armor for so long. Yeah, Warpony we cannot yet control Nightmare in combat, but there's an item that we can eventually make and equip that will allow us to control Nightmare. Or, if we get another archer that's level 5, I can make them give us, with the Beast Mastery ability, I can gain the ability to control Nightmare directly. But for now, it's fine. I just kind of put Nightmare close to whoever I want him or her to give inspiration to. So, doubled movement. She runs to the nearest ally, gives them double movement, and then runs off and tries to attack something. So, I wonder if I don't have control yet, if I give her Devastating Charge, if she just uses it automatically for free. That'd be kind of cool. Also, protection and position. But, yeah, I would definitely... It would be easier to use Nightmare effectively if I could control her, so... We'll check that out eventually. But that is the team. Did I mention? Yeah, I did mention those. That's the team that we've been running with. And then we have, Bob, the Beast of Burden, carrying around our stuff. Just to give us more carry capacity, which I am carrying around a lot of gear, so that's why we're at, 280, 290, or 280 out of 290. There's a lot of stuff that I can drop. We've got some carcasses that I can drop. Oh, we're also still carrying around Barnburner. The horse that gave his life in the revolution that we helped the refugees have, where they took over Tiltron County. So we'll need to bury Barnburner somewhere. I will try to do that this episode, lest I forget. Speaking of, actually, I'm just gonna try to help myself remember by just sticking the corpse at the top. Yeah. And that brings us to the rat infestation. I'm not going to bury Barnburner near the rat infestation, but here we go. We're going to, now that I've gone over everyone, and yeah, if I manage to get levels up or whatever between episodes, I'll try to draw attention to them and remember. But this is our first rat infestation. The goal is to kill the matriarch. That wins. that wins the battle, that gets us stuff. The matriarch will summon rats every round, which is fine. And the bonus reward is if we kill the plague-infested growths, we get a lot more rewards. So, I'm going to cut to establishing our starting positions and then do the battle. Alright, I think that about does it. Something like this. So we've got Gwyneth and Skuld up here to try to destroy these two plague-infected outgrowths. Oh yeah, the fiery symbol is they take 50% increased damage from fire. So the rat infestations are a good place to bring torches and to bring flaming arrows and things. But I don't currently really have many. And I'm about to go deal with the tomb. So I need the torches for that. But it's fine. For now, we're just going to deal with the rats and then deal with the plague-infected outgrowths. So I will start with... I mean, I could use Venus to generate a bunch of Valor points, but I'm going to wait on that until we've got more people in a smaller area. Inch forward. There we go. Triple hit. Nice. That gets me a Valor point to then run through. I mean, kill them all and just get poisoned. Yeah. Sounds good to me. Sounds fine to me. And then stand next to the enemy. Cool. Aegis has the extra movement. Nice. Alright. Jelani. I mean, yeah, I kind of want to get a double kill if possible. And then damage the Broodmother. Yeah, there we go. Cool. And I am a square away. Ooh. If that crits, that kills, actually. Huh. Well, that's unfortunate. I really don't want to kill the Broodmother accidentally immediately. Alright. Glenn is going to walk down here. Safety in numbers. Shoot the plague-infected outgrowth. In turn. Then Kinnan. Actually, if I don't think these engage. No. Yeah, I just bonked them. Which is fine. Poison, but whatever. I don't even kill these guys. Alright. That's kind of sad and funny. But it's fine. You know, I haven't tried to see if perhaps protection will reduce the damage we take from bleeding. Not really sure. In any case, Kang. Kang, we're going in, swapping stances. I definitely want to use the attack stance for this ability. Actually, I should have started with the defense stance on Skullbreaker, but we still kill anyway. So yeah, we're gonna be able to destroy these things pretty easily. Rat infestations are only really dangerous if and when they, you know, swarm you. Because they each attack from the rat applies fever, up to 50% increased damage taken. But the rats themselves don't really do a whole lot. 4 to 5 damage. Eh. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna... Actually, if I could generate another Valor point, that would be considerably better. Alice has no outgrowths she can attack, so I guess I will go and stab a rat. And in turn to get a Valor point. Cool. And then Eleanor. Yeah, King Arduin. Eleanor walking in, hitting the outgrowth. I mean, I could kill. Probably should. Alright. And then Diana can stab the last rat that hasn't acted in the face. And just stand next to an ally. And part of the reason I'm grouping around the Broodmother is because whenever she summons the rats, most of them will be around her. Yep. Scold goes in. Oh. I was not expecting to one-shot it. I should have. I mean, if I crit with the slash, it would have killed it anyway. Welp. Yes, I will reload. Okay. I mean, if I use aim, that might kill. But no, I will move over here and just use it on that one. Alright. So the Broodmother roars. More rats spawn. Wait. Oh yeah, this one. Okay. So, that rat's about to go. I'm going to generate a bunch of Valor points with Vina. And I'm going to... No. That's less than fun. I have trapped Vina. Very unfortunate, actually. Well, I guess I'm getting poisoned. That's fine. Alright. Bonk. And then I'm going to go over here. And deal with them. Cool. Nightmare should attack the horse. I mean, attack the rat there. Beautiful. Nice. That rat might as well kill. Like so. And then use a Valor point there. Cool. Nice. And then this definitely kills that plague rat. Where's this one? Oh, hello. Yeah, it's fine. Hi. And goodbye. Cool. This rat. I mean, I could just literally move away from it. But why move away when I can just kill it? Nice. And then we've got this rat. That's going to immediately get killed by Glenn whenever Glenn shoots. And this rat, which I don't have to worry about yet, so I will take this opportunity to finish that one. Move over to Skull, generates us a Valor point. That generates a Valor point, and I think Jelani just finishes that, like so. And then finishes the Broodmother like so. The nest was destroyed, and we took out all of the plate growths. Cool. 5 baits. We can make the improved fish hooks, 1 carcass of the Den Mother, infected blood, plate leather, plate-ridden samples, rats, an infected brain, and 90 pristine fangs. Not bad. Aegis took a little bit of armor damage, but not even enough for me to really care about repairing. So, yeah. That does that. Very simple episode. Very fun little clearing of the rat infestation. The plague growth... the plague samples is how we make the better oils. We refine those into pristine essence via this here. So we learned that. We use fish oil and plague sample in a vial to make pristine essence, which we then make better oils with, which is going to be fun. But we'll worry about that after we get back to town. For now, let's go. Oh, overburdened. So we've got 10 over. Literally just planting Barnburner's body somewhere, like, fixes that issue. But I am willing to chuck the carcasses, but that's only 8, so we'd still be overburdened. Yeah, I'm actually going to... yeah, we'd still be overburdened. We can use the rat corpses for the same purpose as the carcass, which is on the meat drying rack, to get grease, which is useful for torches and sage's layers and things like that. Although fish oil is actually kind of more important at the moment, so I'm gonna drop the carcasses. That freezes up. Once I pulled the 2 carcasses out of the meat drying rack, that actually does give us enough. The energizing oil I haven't used yet, because I don't have any strength-based weapons that I really want to use it on yet. I guess I could just put it on the Fugitive's Hammer. Until I find a better hammer. I don't really want to make a better hammer for Brick, because it's only going to do extra damage against armor. Which only matters if they have armor, or it's only better if they have armor but don't have guard. Otherwise, ignoring the guard is probably more valuable than the extra 50% damage. Actually, is it? No. They're only going to have guard if they have armor. And 50% extra damage, unless it's reduced by 30% guard, I think. Unless it's more than 30% guard, I think the armor hammer does come out higher. I don't know. We'll look at it when we get there. Yeah, I think the energizing oil is worse than the oil we'll be able to make once we unlock the recipes, which I think most of them are bought. I think all of them are bought now that I think about it. Anyway, yeah, we also... paths, yes. We used an oil, so that gave us guinea pig. Exterminator. Destroy a rat's nest. We are so close to another Mysteries and Wisdom. I don't know what I'll go with, but it's fine. Yeah, let's go actually plant Barn Burner somewhere. Let's see. Oh, that's guards. Welp. Yeah, we are very wanted. So let's not and say we did. Oh boy. Oh yeah, back here behind this rat's nest is actually a different area. I only briefly went down here because this didn't exist last time I played, and I was like, oh, this actually goes through to somewhere now. That's cool. But yeah, you know what? I'm gonna plant Barn Burner just outside of this. Place 2. Do you want to leave an epitaph? You know what? I would rather... Okay. For the lulz, I'm going to actually go find a barn to put Barn Burner next to. Or possibly put Barn Burner next to the town that we helped liberate. Or, I guess, change of management. But for now, that's been your episode of Wartales for the day. I hope you enjoyed it, and until next time, have a good one.